Hey guys, how's it going? Azoh here, and today we will be talking about the recently announced ZED buffs and ZED's state in the preseason. So, you probably saw my video on the ZED nerfs, and kind of how I argued a little bit back and forth around, well, it's a strange time to nerf ZED, and it's a strange reasoning to nerf ZED, and I kind of rattle up a bit of the reasons why I thought it was I disagreed with the nerf. Now, after testing it a little bit, I think it still works. It's definitely clunky, and for someone who's like gotten really used to the W working a certain way, it feels different. But I think it's manageable. I think you can get around it, and if they want to go down that path, I don't think they would ever revert a bug fix, as they called it. Now, I've already argued why, back and forth, like, is it an exploit, and what counts as an exploit, is Riven's animation cancelling an exploit, and I think I made it clear that, yes, there's a distinction to be made between weird animation cancelling, where you can make two abilities at the same time, and an ability not being channeled, like, before it's even arrived. Though it's a very, very vague line, and I can understand the arguments from both sides, but in either case, this is where we are right now. The W is working the way it's working right now. So, the buffs that were announced for Zed is that his ultimate at level 6 and 11 is getting more percentage damage, as in Zed's ultimate has a flat amount of damage it deals based on AD, and then it takes a percentage of the damage you deal while the death mark is active, and adds on top of the flat damage as the splash damage. So when the mark pops, it splashes. That's a really bad term to use. And it's been increased at level 6 by 10% and level 11 by 5%. And also, they have increased the W range from 600 to 700. So these buffs, at the risk of sounding a little bit like a crying baby, I don't think these buffs are very good, actually. Not that I think they're not very good, I think they will impact him very much. And I guess this is a disclaimer I want to make before I even start discussing anything more. This is preseason. Everything is different. The game is just not the same anymore, with all the different masteries and death timers and all the different items being changed and all that. And snowballing being incredibly fast, and the different bounty system, everything is different. So any estimation is to be taken with a grain of salt, definitely, even more so than before. Now, the reason why I don't think this buff is very good in terms of a healthy buff is because this is the kind of thing, just giving that raw damage extra is the kind of thing that would possibly just put him in a god tier position. Not saying he's there, and for the reasons I already explained in the other video, I still don't think he's a great pick at the moment, although with the new items he definitely has the potential to be. So with this kind of buff, I'm not going to object to the W buff, although I think it's kind of strange, because the problem has always been, well, Zed needs to have counterplay, and then all the Zed mains go, oh, well, Zhonya's Echo Ultimate, Kindred Ultimate, Tahm Kench, QSS, everything, and they say all these different counterplay, and then people who don't like Zed say, well, he's too much free stuff, and you know, it's so free you can jump out immediately with ultimate, he has wave clear, has poke, you can't dodge it, and it's just back and forth, the same thing over and over and over, and the discussion goes nowhere. But the W being buffed, the range of the W being buffed feels like it's just giving it more safe poke. I don't think... I think it's going to be really, really fun to play with, because I've been playing with this champion for several years with the W range being the same. So having that change is going to be extremely interesting for me, but I just don't... It feels like it's not a consistent buff, or nerf, but yeah, buff, considering the previous nerfs. That's all. And like I said, the flat damage increase, it's not gigantic, but it does add up. 10% more at level 6 is actually pretty big, and can be the extra push, like definitely is the extra push when you need the final damage to take someone out. And I mean, I guess it does kind of weigh up for the fact that you are going to miss more Qs because W is much, much slower. So it's very possible that I'm just being hyperbolic here by saying this is really not going to work very well. Because it might just balance itself out by the Qs you miss are basically weighed up by the extra damage of R. But that's very hypothetical, and that kind of thing never really happens. It's never really, you know, exactly balanced out. And with the snowballing as it is, I don't know. It's strange to me to be able to assert specifically what's gonna go, how something's gonna go specifically when the game is just completely different. But spontaneously, I think this is a strange buff, considering their previous nerfs. And it's always been around, but ZED needs to have counterplay. And giving him more range, I mean, it makes it even more safe to poke, it makes it even more safe to D-push. Then again, what you need to remember is, if with a longer W means, if you're poking at the max range of the W, it's less likely that you will hit a double Q. And again, when the W has to travel the entire distance, the extra 100 units, and then through a Q, which is now delayed, it's a lot of time to react to the Q. So it might just be that this is not really going to change much. It's very possible, though the extra range on W also means that you can jump some walls that you couldn't before, possibly. Some of the very thick walls. And you're probably going to face plant less, because you've gotten used to exactly how long the W is. But it's still, we're going to have to see how it plays out, but I'm not going to complain about the nerfs, and I am going to say, if it did seem a bit too serious in my latest video, I don't think ZED's dead, I really don't. And in the end, buff is not going to make or break the champion, and a nerf like the nerf we got will not make or break ZED, because mains of a champion, in the end, they find a way. But what I think this is going to have happen is more people are going to keep playing ZED, and they're going to find different build paths or spikes or masteries that work well with him, and possibly then, my fear being, a buff to ZED means a lot more people play ZED, and then they find something that's really, really broken on ZED, and Riot decides to nerf something, and if we're gonna follow the pattern at this point, it's probably gonna be like, well, we nerf missile speed on Q, or, missile speed on W, or something crazy like that. But, again, I think the big TLDR here is that it's preseason, we shouldn't draw too many conclusions. The buff is interesting, but I think it goes against what they have been saying before, so I'll see if they really go through with it. The buff then being a stronger ultimate at level 6 and 11, as well as a longer range on W, 100 more units from 600 to 700, meaning you will outrange short-range mid-champions pretty easily, although with the WQ nerf, on top of the W having to travel a longer distance before you can throw, it'll be much slower and much easier to dodge the secondary Q, and considering there's a longer distance between the W and ZED, it will be very difficult to hit double shuriken on top of slower W and slower WQ. But in the end, ZED is not a shit pick. He actually has the potential to be a pretty good pick in this season. We'll see how it turns out, and yeah, it's been really fun hosting y'all. Very interesting discussion. I will see y'all in my next video, where I will be talking about ZED Mastery and item build in preseason so far. But yeah, until then, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.